Very special look at the NFC East. Today we have gathered some of the greatest minds out there on YouTube to talk about none other than their own team. They're going to break it down for you, and we're going to find out everything about the Philadelphia Eagles, the New York Giants, and the Washington Redskins, and of course, saving the best for last, our very own Dallas Cowboys. So you guys want to be informed about your NFC East division? This is the video to do it, guys. Offense, defense, preseason, expectations, we're going to talk about it all here today. We have joining us Philly.500 repping his Eagles, the Entertainah repping his Giants, and SkinsFanAllDay repping his Washington Redskins. So, of course, we here at MCF, My Cowboys Family, will be representing our Dallas Cowboys. So with that said, please enjoy. Today, guys, we have the one and only Entertainah repping his New York Giants. So, Entertainah, you want to tell them a little bit about your channel and what you do over there?
Yeah, I'm excited to come on. I love your guys' channel. I appreciate the invite. And, you know, I was really looking forward to this. I've been wanting to do this for quite some time. We've been talking about it. I do New York coverage. I do the Giants, I do the Mets, I do the Knicks. And, you know, mainly focused on the Giants, especially during football season. You know, I had a lot of off-season coverage as well with the draft and everything like that. But yeah, I'm a passionate Giants fan, cover the Giants, and I'm really looking forward to this season. A lot of people might have us counted out, but I think the Giants could surprise some people this year. They could be more competitive than people think. And like I said, I've worked with Philly.500, but I haven't worked with a Cowboys YouTuber yet. And who better to work with than you guys? Love your channel, and I think this will be an interesting discussion.
We have much love. We appreciate you as well. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for being on here. And again, so let's not count you out. Let's talk about that.
Yeah,
because,
let's go into the Giants
your
now.
first round draft pick here in this year's draft, Daniel Jones, and obviously one of the biggest offseason trades, you know, in
Odell
the NFL
Beckham.
with OBJ going to the Cleveland Browns. So what is kind of the state of your offense? How do you feel about your offense heading into the 2019 season?
Yeah, you bring up Daniel Jones. We actually had 3 first-round draft picks, but Daniel Jones was obviously the first one, the 6th overall selection, which I was not happy about. If people watch my channel, I've since come to get behind my quarterback, and I didn't hate Daniel Jones. I hated the pick. I thought we could have got him probably at 17 on the night of the draft. We'll never know if that was the case. But as far as the Odell Beckham trade goes, I'll start with that. I think Odell Beckham, I think we traded him more so to clean up the locker room. He was never a team guy, and I always was worried with Beckham how he would respond with a rookie quarterback. And I think that had something to do with the trade. I think the Giants said to themselves, if we're going to bring in Daniel Jones, a rookie quarterback, is he going to be able to thrive under the scrutiny of Odell Beckham? Because we all know Odell Beckham threw his quarterback under the bus numerous times with Eli Manning, whether it be direct or indirect. So I think that had a lot to do with the trade. But I think a lot of people that are not Giants fans going into this year are just going to assume because we traded Odell Beckham that this offense is going to be worse. Well, the Giants' offense last year was at least average, and in the second half was probably one of the top 6, 7, 8 offenses in football. I think they averaged 27 points a game over their last 8 games against some good defenses. You guys, the Eagles, the Bears, the Titans, we played some good defenses. We put up 40 on the Redskins. And the major acquisition for me this year, some people may point to Golden Tate, some people, you know, players like that. The major acquisition to me was Zeitler. Zeitler is one of the best guards in football. The Giants, of course, got him when they traded away Olivier Vernon to the Browns. The other trade before we made our second trade with the Browns being Odell Beckham. But I think that the Giants' offensive line, year 2 of Will Hernandez, who I thought was a great pick last year. I think he was 34th overall. The guard on the left side, along with Solder, and him playing together for a second year. You're bringing one of the best guards in football in Remmers. You improved the right tackle, even though he's not great in a Remmers. He's a huge step up from who we had over there in Eric Flowers, who, in my opinion, should be out of the league. But I think the Giants' offensive line is going to make this offense at least an average offense this year, because I expect them to be a big step up. The Giants' offensive line over the last, I don't know, 6, 7 years has been ranked 27th, 28th, or worse for the most part every single year. And I always say I love the blueprint that you guys have produced in terms of building your offensive line through the draft. You guys have 3 All-Pros on your line, and that is why your team is successful as it is. And you go all the way back to those 90s teams. Everything revolved around the offensive line. And that's how you win in football at the end of the day. It's nice to have flashy players, but you have to be able to win in the trenches. And I think the Giants will be able to do that better this year than in years past. So I'm actually encouraged by the offense. I'm worried about the defense, but I think the offense will be up to snuff. I think they'll be able to compete with a lot of teams on the offensive side of the football.
All right. right, so offensively, you obviously touched on the current quarterback situation and the offensive line, but you know, with Odell leaving, who is going to step up and fill in that gap at receiver? And you know,
and
I
guys
guess
have injuries. You have suspensions. Golden Tate's gone.
Golden Tate is obviously an unfortunate.
Corey Coleman, he's injured for the whole year. He's on IR. I'm pretty sure. Right? And you got Sterling Shepard's a little banged up, but and you got Evan Ingram, you got Saquon Barkley. That's the nucleus, I think, right now for opening, the opening part of the season. And as you go on, you're going to get some of these guys back. So that's a great question. How do you feel about the other spots?
Fantastic question. And yeah, it's not going to be replaced with one guy. And if you look at Eli Manning over the course of his career, and it may not be Eli Manning the whole year. Daniel Jones obviously will probably step in at some point if and when the Giants fall out of it this year, to start the transition. But if you look at Eli Manning over the course of his career, he's always been at his best when he spreads the ball around. And I think that's what they're going to do this year. You brought up Evan Ingram. I think Evan Ingram is going to have a great year. If you look at Evan Ingram last year, I think he played 11 or 12 games. He missed some due to injury. But his 4 games where Beckham didn't play, he got half of his targets for the year. I think he's going to be heavily targeted. I think Ingram will have a big year. He had a good year his rookie year as well. When Beckham missed a lot of time, I think he missed 12 games that year. So I think Evan Ingram is going to have the biggest improvement in terms of statistics. Sterling Shepard is still a very good wide receiver. Golden Tate, of course, going to miss the first 4 games due to the suspension with the whole pregnancy thing. Who knows if he was covering up steroids? We'll never know. But somebody will have to fill in that void, no doubt about it. Benny Fowler's looked very good in preseason. I think they'll get enough out of these receivers, whether it be Cody Latimer or Fowler. I think they'll get enough production out of those guys in the secondary roles where, Barkley and Ingram and Shepard will pick up the slack. I'm not too worried about the Giants' offense. I'm really not. The defense is suspect. But I think Shepard and Ingram, if you're a fantasy football player, I think they're going to have pretty productive years this year in Beckham's absence.
I'm with you there. I always liked Ingram, and we know how good Barkley is. You touch on everything on the offense. Fantastic. That kind of leads me to the defense a little bit.
Well,
right?
I guess I had one last thing about the offense. Just I thought it was interesting how you said that you liked the way that we built our offensive line. I think it's a little interesting how you guys are building your offensive line, and now you have Barkley. So I expect to see more kind of a 1-2 punch with them, and I'll be interested to see how you guys end up using Saquon as the season goes on.
It reminds me of kind of the way we use Ezekiel Elliott with our offensive line, right? And kind of almost overly used Zeke to a predictable situation that last year kind of caught up. He still led the league in rushing, but we were too predictable going, everybody knew when we were going to run. So it could be the best running back and have one of the better offensive lines, although last year we were a little broken. You can still see how, you got to be, I'm just letting you know for the Giants, they got to be aware of how to mix it up right. So the play calling, all that stuff is important to maximize those guys.
Oh, for sure. And I think Frederick was the guy that was out for you guys last year. You guys definitely suffered because of it. I think you guys ranked 14th by PFF. You guys are usually top 2, 3 in the league with your offensive line. That's the bread and butter of your offense. And I agree. You got to be able to mix and match. Another thing I want the Giants to do this year that I don't think they did enough of last year, got to use that backup running back a little bit more. I don't want to wear Barkley into the ground. Sometimes less is more. You may get more production out of his carries if he's a little more fresh. I like that we brought in a former Cowboy, Rod Smith. He's actually looked pretty good in the preseason, better than I thought he would. He's known as more of a short yardage running back, a goal line type running back. He looks pretty spry on his feet. I don't expect too much, but I think that they need to mix and match with those backup running backs, whether it be him, whether it be Paul Perkins, whether it be Wayne Gallman. They got to use the play action. I think Barkley will be able to do that for them. In my opinion, he's the most talented running back in football, and I think it's going to help the offense. The second half last year, when they shored up that offensive line and Barkley got going, you really saw them improve that play action game, and I hope they're able to build off of it going into the season this year.
And trust me, you have one of the best backs. I would say he's not as good as Zeke yet, but you have one of the best backs in the NFL for sure, no doubt. And again, yes, using that play action, it helps your quarterback, helps your offense, helps a receiver, it helps your whole game plan, everything helps it go down the field. And, so that is very intelligent. And also, using your backups. So that's part of the issue Zeke has right now is the fact that we don't really we overuse Zeke. So now he's like, hey, I'm going to wait until you guys show me something here, show me the money, whatever it is. But we're talking Giants. We're moving to the defensive side,
so obviously you said you're clearly concerned, with the trade and everything, and mainly just a lot of new faces on this defense. You have a lot of new rookies, a lot of new faces, a lot of change.
Yeah, you got Jabril Peppers you brought in, right? You have Alec Ogletree from last year from the Rams. But how do you feel about this? Snacks Harrison gone, right? So
I guess the biggest question is, do you think
what
that
about
the
Landon
Giants
Collins?
defense is in a rebuilding year? Because again, you already expressed your concern. Are you concerned that you are in a rebuilding year, or that it could be something more?
Yeah, on defense, definitely. What do you think?
Yeah, if we're being, I mean, I'm gonna be optimistic going into the year. I always am. If things break right, this is football. It's an unpredictable sport. They could win 9 or 10 games. I always go back to 2017. Going into the year, the Giants were the favorites to win the division. They were coming off an 11-5 year. That defense was phenomenal. The last 8-9 games that year, they were the best defense of football for the second half of the season. Ended up losing to the Packers in the first round of the playoffs, the wild card round. The next year, huge high hopes. They had the defense back. They had Brandon Marshall. A lot of people were picking them to go to the Super Bowl. We won 3 games. Now, some of that was due to injuries, but it's a very unpredictable sport. So I always go into it optimistic. I think if things break right, this could be a competitive football team. But if I'm being honest, this is a rebuilding year on both sides of the ball. I don't think it's a finished product on offense, but defense specifically, you brought up a lot of good points. Obviously, we lost some veterans, but those veterans, to be honest, didn't play well. We were one of the worst defenses in football last year. We lost Snacks Harrison. We lost Landon Collins. We lost Eli Apple. We lost somebody else. So at the top of my head, I don't remember. But we lost a lot of players on the defensive side of the football. And we only have maybe 3 returning starters, whether it be Ogletree, B.J. Hill, Janoris Jenkins. But for the most part, fresh faces. Lorenzo Carter, I think, is going to get a more expanded role. I'm really looking forward to that. Last year's third-round pick out of Georgia. Jimenez has had 3 sacks in his last 2 preseason games. He's a very potentially talented pass rusher. And I like Marcus Golden. Marcus Golden, 2 or 3 years ago, had 13 sacks. And they brought him in because he fits the James Betcher defense. He's been hurt the last 2 years, so I'm hoping he has a bounce back here. I'm encouraged by the young secondary, but I expect them to make mistakes because they're young. I love the DeAndre Baker pick. I like Julian Love in the slot corner. He also is capable of playing that safety position. They have a very good up-and-coming secondary, but they're not ready yet. Sam Beal. So I'm looking forward to the growth of this team on defense, but I don't expect them to be that good, especially to start the season.
On defense from some of these younger guys that you have your eye on, any one of these younger guys that kind of has really stood out to you recently throughout camp?
Yeah, one guy I wanted to touch on that I should have in the secondary as well. Corey Ballantyne has been a great story. This guy got drafted, I think it was the 5th round. He got drafted in the 5th round. He got shot the night he got drafted. He got shot in the butt. His friend got killed. Ballantyne, he may not even make the team. I was pissed when they drafted him because they drafted 2 cornerbacks before him. And they end up taking 3 cornerbacks in the draft. I'm like, what are you doing? We could use an offensive lineman. We could use a linebacker. This guy is getting reps with the first team now. He's played great. He's been an unforeseen guy. Now, I don't know if he's going to have a huge impact with the team. The guys I'm most looking forward to, Dexter Lawrence. I think Dexter Lawrence is going to have an immediate impact. I'm very excited about him up at the front. DeAndre Baker, I think, could definitely be very good as the season wears along. And Lorenzo Carter, I'm really looking forward to his maturation this year. Those are the 3 guys I'm really excited. And Jabril Peppers. Jabril Peppers has looked good in coverage, much better than Landon Collins. Landon Collins is more of an in-the-box safety, a hard hitter. Jabril Peppers, I think, is better in coverage, which is something we really struggled with last year at that position. Tight ends carved us up. Even that last game against you guys, Jarwin, I think he had 2 or 3 touchdowns.
3.
We could not guard tight ends last year.
Yeah, and again, I kind of I think about the issues guys might have back there and coverage and all that stuff. But I mean, did you have any other?
Yeah, so I mean, you obviously touched on a few names that really stood out to you in camp. But your training camp overall, obviously, it's pretty much wrapped up for most teams. How have you felt about your training camp? How it went, your preseason. You got your first look at your team.
Yeah, I've been encouraged by it. Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones, 25 of 30 through his first 3 preseason games. He's looked great. Eli Manning, to me, has looked good. I think Eli Manning is going to have a pretty good year. I think people are writing him off. I expect Eli Manning to play pretty well this year with that offensive line. We'll have to wait and see. The defense, I'm a little... it's what I expect, though. But against the first-team offenses, they've kind of gotten carved up. Darnold went right down the field on them. You saw it again last week against the Bengals with Andy Dalton. He was 7-10. I think he had like 110 yards and a touchdown. There was a confusion on a deep play in the end zone where they beat us over the top with coverage. So I'm worried about the defense. I will say the pass rush has gotten there. They've gotten 8 sacks in their last 2 preseason games. And like I touched on earlier, the X-Man Jimenez, the 3rd-round pick, looks really good, 3 sacks. But I know it's a work in progress. One thing I will say, our schedule is pretty favorable coming out. After you guys, we play the Bills at home. We play at the Bucks, who I think we could put up a lot of points on, and be a shootout. And then we've got the there's another winnable game. I can't remember. Oh, the Redskins at home. So maybe we get off to a decent start, and maybe that builds some confidence and the team grows. Think about it optimistically, but we'll have to wait and see.
And that pretty much brings us to, you know, the one of the last things that we wanted to touch on.
Real quick, I just want to say one quick thing, man. You had a lot of draft picks. You brought a lot of guys in, a lot of new faces. Like you mentioned a whole bunch of them. And again, you know, the guy from Chicago, I think Golden was for the Bears. I'm pretty sure he had pretty good seasons there. Was he from
Marcus Golden?
Yeah,
he was from the Cardinals.
Okay,
Arizona Cardinals.
I'm sorry. Yeah, So you said he had some injury issues, right? So yeah, but I'm just saying. My point is that you guys have definitely done, you know, some progress to some of those missing spots. I think Jabril Peppers also, he helps your special teams on returns. I mean, he does do returns. He's dangerous. So you guys, you know, I definitely now, after kind of going over the Giants with you, I definitely I see where the defense is going to have like the more problems you're thinking. Offense is going to be a little better than people think. But you know, again, I got to admit, learning about your Giants a little bit better. Definitely not as bad, I think, as most people assume.
Exactly,
off the top.
from the outside, and not again. That's why on paper, when you hear, "Oh, Daniel Jones, you know OBJ, and you did that," you really think, okay, the Giants are in for a bad year.
Can't write them off.
For sure, they are in a rebuilding stage, like you said, on offense and defense, but you know, they're definitely putting the pieces together to make something happen. And honestly, 2016 shows you know, you can have a lot of pieces and make something happen. But, you know, you touched a little bit on the beginning of the schedule and some matchups, specifically with the Redskins, stuff like that. So how do you think, to kind of wrap this up, how are your Giants going to match up? How are they going to play against the NFC East? What are your expectations against the Redskins, against the Eagles, against us?
And, of course, the Cowboys.
Yes.
All right, first I'll touch on what you said about losing OBJ one more time real quick. Football, to me, is much less of an individualistic sport than any other sport of the four major sports. It's more of a team sport. It's more of a chemistry, how players play together. And all you got to do is go back and look at the Giants. The year before they won the Super Bowl, Tiki Barber, Jeremy Shockey, they lose those guys. They bring in Kevin Boss at tight end. They have a platoon at running back between a young Brandon Jacobs, a Derek Ward, a Mont Bradshaw, and they played better as a team because they got rid of those guys that were causing problems in the locker room, even though they may not have been as talented, the guys they brought in to replace them. So sometimes you get better even when you lose talent, in my opinion. So we'll have to wait and see how the locker room develops. But in terms of the NFC East this year, I think the Redskins, I think we could go toe-to-toe with them, especially early in the season if Haskins starts week 4. I like Haskins. I was a Haskins guy. I think he's going to be the best quarterback from this year's draft, but I don't think he's ready. He only had 13 college starts. He played in a college system. I think if the Giants get them, if he plays that game, I expect the Giants to win that game, especially at home. I think we should at least split with the Redskins. I think we have a decent chance to sweep them. Eagles are funny because the Eagles, we always play them tough. 3 out of the last 4 times we played this team, in my opinion, we should have beat them. We were destroying them, at least 2 out of the last 4. First game last year, they killed us. Later in the season, we should have won that game. We were winning by, I don't remember, it was like 17 points at halftime. Eli Manning throws up a duck before the half, trying to force it to Odell Beckham. Giants end up losing the game because they forget how to run the ball in the second half. But Barkley was able to tear them apart. I think we have a chance to split with the Eagles. I really do. The Cowboys, I worry about. I'm being honest. You guys, even though the Eagles are probably just as talented as you guys, I think we match up worse with you guys because your strengths are our weaknesses. You guys have an unbelievable offensive line, and we struggle getting after the quarterback. I will say the front of our defensive line may pose more of a threat this year than before. We've got 3 strong D tackles that are playing up at the line that may be able to stuff the line with Dalvin Tomlinson, B.J. Hill, and Dexter Lawrence. So we'll have to see. The year that we swept you in 2016, that's how we beat you. Snacks Harrison was able to clog the line. We were able to stuff Ezekiel Elliott, and we made Dak one-dimensional. So that's how you beat you guys, but that's much easier said than done. I think, if I'm being honest, I think you guys will sweep us. I think best case, we go 4-2. We split with you guys. We split with the Eagles. We sweep the Redskins. If I'm being realistic, I'll say either 2-4 or 3-3 in the division.
Hey, that's honest and fair. And, you know, the one thing I do know is Eli always scores before the half on us. Yes. So I'm ready for that. He gets 3 points or 7 points. Somehow he does it on every single time. Yeah. And I agree with you. He having a good preseason. Yeah.
I think that
looking strong.
One key thing that you said is that for some reason, your Giants front line does make Dak and Zeke a little bit one-dimensional. You just see them struggling. For some reason, at least in 2016, like you said, that's how you guys managed to beat us. But I think that there is going to be a difference, too. I think that Dak is a different quarterback. I don't think that like Dak in the pocket, I think is going to be a little different. So I think even with your possible improvement at that D-line. I think that the Dak that you guys are going up against is going to be a little bit different.
And you guys, your guys in your front line, young, right? They're young, still developing. Great names,
yes.
Great people. I mean, some of those guys like Dexter Lawrence, B.J. Hill, we were looking at those guys as well, analyzing them. Cowboys can draft them this year, last year, whenever they were drafted. And good players on the front there, good, but young. And our guys, even though Frederick's back, he's still coming back from not playing a whole year. He's looking strong in preseason. He's back to 100%. So hopefully that translates continues into the season, and that would help our offensive alignment. The young guy Connor Williams to the left, and Zach Martin at right. They gotta stay healthy. But I think if we stay healthy, it's going to be a damn good battle between your Giants and our Cowboys. And
I have a feeling this game might be won in the secondary, though, just because, again, we all know Dak. I'm just saying that we all know that Dak, sometimes has, some accuracy problems
in the past.
But Eli Manning, I mean, that Eli face, Tank's made that almost his trademark. He's looking forward to it.
Yeah,
so
Tank's coming
but with our additions at secondary as well, with Xavier Woods and other things we've done, I wonder, how that shootout is going to end up. I do think we'll end up sweeping you, realistically.
I do agree, though, with what he said is when you have the secondary, kind of the way it's kind of come around, you got another year under on the defense, or these players on the Giants are young, but they have another year under their belt. Same thing for the Cowboys. Our secondary, young as hell, right? But we have another year under our belt, and they're looking better and better. So, I see the progression of both these teams. And again, we were kind of, this is supposed to be a rebuilding kind of time for us. That we got lucky with Dak and other situations that happened on the team and the front line. We kind of, like you said from the beginning, we kind of started with that some years back with Tyron Smith, and really built that offensive line to control games. But listen, I'm looking forward to this season. Every season we look forward to. I know you are too, man. So,
I guess any final thoughts or any final comments about your Giants, your expectations, your hopes, your thoughts about this season, and of course anything about our Cowboys?
Yeah, I mean, you bring up that you're excited. As Cowboys fans, you should be excited. I think you guys, I hate saying it, I can't stand the Cowboys like you guys, but the Cowboys are the favorites in this division as far as I'm concerned. I think that they have their strongest where it matters. They're strongest in the trenches. They have one of the top 3 or 4 defenses in all of football, and they worry the hell out of me. I think the Cowboys built the team the right way. I will say you may have a 2-year window. I think once you start paying these players, you're going to lose some pieces where it matters. But you guys have an opportunity here over the next 2 years to win a Super Bowl. And I just hope my Giants build our team the same way you guys did. And I think they are. I really do think that they are. I think next year the Giants are going to be much better. They're going to have about $80 to $100 million in cap space. They'll have more draft picks. And ESPN even said, ESPN usually hates us. ESPN had us ranked the 5th best team under the age of 25. And that makes sense because the Giants have drafted early the last 2 years. They've had so many picks. This year, I think they had 11 picks. The year before, I thought they drafted excellent between Barkley, between obviously Will Hernandez, B.J. Hill, Lorenzo Carter. They got some very productive players in last year's draft. R.J. McIntosh hasn't even gotten to play yet, but he's another talented defensive tackle that may get some play this year as well. And then in this year's draft, I thought they did a great job. I really do. I love the players they brought in. The Giants are young. They're up and coming, but they're probably a year or two away before they're contending to win this division. I could see them contending as soon as next year, depending on the development of Daniel Jones. Obviously, Eli Manning's rookie year, Giants struggled. I think they won 6 games. The next year, they won 11. So it can be done. We'll have to wait and see who the Giants bring in free agency. I think they'll need to bring in probably a big-time playmaker at the wide receiver position. Maybe shore up that offensive line a little bit more on the right tackle spot. But I think they're headed in the right direction. I'm looking forward to the year.
Fantastic. Awesome.
No, thank you once again, Entertainah, for taking time out of your day to come talk to us about your team. So let the people know where they can find you at.
Yeah, you can find me on the Entertainah Talking Sports. Like I said, New York sports. I talk a little bit about you Cowboys, obviously, being that you're in the NFC East. And I'm looking forward to having you guys on the channel when I get a chance and talking broad NFC. I'm sure we're going to be previewing that first week matchup. Really looking forward to that. And, yeah, hope you guys stop by. Thank you for having me on.
All right, guys, we have the one and only SkinsFanAllDay here to tell you guys about the Washington Redskins. So why don't you tell the people what you do and, what team it is that you rep, what you're here to talk about today.
Well, I am the one and only SkinsFanAllDay. Thank you guys for having me on your show. I'm gonna say your show. I appreciate it. This is going to be one of the most surprising season coming up for the NFC East. A lot of teams, a lot of a lot of people thinking it's going to be the number 2 teams, which is the Cowboys, you guys, and the Eagles. But you never know. You never know because of not the Cowboys, because the NFC East haven't had a champion, repeating champion, in a long time. So of course you guys won it last year, thanks to the Redskins. Okay, so no comment. But of course, I'm a big time Redskin fan. I love my team. I speak the truth. Just because I'm a Redskin fan, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm going to tell you what I like, what I don't like. I'm one of those real fans. I'm not one of those delusional fans, that's out there thinking because we got this and that, we're going to Super Bowl every year. I'm not one of those type of fans. I speak the truth about my team. People, some people like it, some people don't, but I speak the truth about my Washington Redskins.
We 100% appreciate the truth, and we want we try to be non-biased as possible. We always rooting for our I'm rooting for the Cowboys, for the Redskins, but we know what's good and bad about our team. That's why we got you on here again. And just so everybody knows, they can find you on YouTube, right? Is that the only platform you're on right now? Okay. Yes,
YouTube. You can check me out on YouTube. My channel is, of course, SkinsFanAllDay. I keep it simple. SkinsFanAllDay.
All right, we got you. Let's go right into the offense.
So I mean, you already kind of touched on a few things, but let's rewind it a little bit. So obviously with Alex Smith and that horrific injury, you guys went into the draft, right? So you brought in 2 new quarterbacks, first of all. So first you brought in free agent Case Keenum. Then you have your first round pick. You have Dwayne Haskins. So that's obviously the biggest thing from the outside looking in. People know about your offense, but, how do you feel about your offense heading into the 2019
especially
season?
with the left tackle, Trent Williams, having his issues. You got,
please don't remind me.
Take it away, sir. It's all yours. Floor is yours.
And I had high hopes. Coming into this season, but now since Trent Williams decided he wanted to be a butthole and do what he wanted to do and mess up our whole offense. Now, I believe because of the move that Trent Williams did, I personally believe this is the reason why Case Keenum is starting. If Trent Williams was here, I believe wholeheartedly that Dwayne Haskins will be our starter because he is bigger. He's younger, stronger arm. The numbers is out on Case Keenum. They got plenty of tape on this guy. So coming into this season, I'm not really excited. I'm just going to be honest with you. I really don't like Case Keenum. I was very disappointed. I made videos on my YouTube channel months back when they first picked up Case Keenum. I was dogging this guy. I do not like the pick. I don't like the decision that they made to go out and get Case Keenum. They could have got somebody else than turnover machine Case Keenum. Everybody's saying because he had that awesome season in Minnesota. That's it. He's been in the league, 7 years? Haven't really done nothing, so I'm not really excited. So, good job, Cowboys.
What about Adrian Peterson? He's aging, and you got a couple new running backs in there. You got Jordan Reed, who is nice. He got concussion. He's having issues, right? Tight end. What's the rest of this offense looking like here, man? You said not expecting much, but anything?
A lot of people, they downplaying us, but I think we might surprise some people because we are younger. You probably know, one of the things that was going against the Redskins back in the days was we always had an old team. We had an old team, old linebackers, old defensive ends, old cornerbacks, old everything. So now that we are a younger team, I think we are going to surprise some people. We young everywhere, young everywhere. And far as Adrian Peterson, I'll run him until he can't run no more. I'll run him. The thing is, Adrian Peterson wanted to play with you guys, and I'm so glad he didn't go to you guys. But he wanted to play with you guys because of y'all offensive line. You know about your offensive line. But I mean, since he came to the Redskins, I told everybody, I said, y'all watch out, Adrian Peterson. He still got some juice. So I like our running back core. I think we got the best running back core in the league. Hands down. Adrian Peterson, Darius Geis, Chris Thompson, and then we got Bryce Love. Whenever he comes off
he's injured, right?
His injury, so stuff that he's dealing with. I think we got the best running back core in the league. As far as Jordan Reed, I think the man, to be honest, I know Redskin fans don't want to hear this, but I think the man need to go ahead and retire because he putting his life in jeopardy. Man has a wife, he has children. You can't do that. I know he loved the game, but you got to think about your family. I mean, he had this was his 7th concussion. That's crazy. Something bad can really happen to him. If you just never know. You never know. If it was me, I retire. You got plenty of money. You got your wife. You got your kids. Retire. You're young. Just live out the rest of your life, man. Don't. This is it's crazy. It's crazy.
So obviously, on a personal level, I'm definitely with you there on Jordan Reed retire. But again, on a team level, where does that leave you guys when Jordan Reed was kind of a big part of your offensive plan? And again, can any other tight ends or any other receivers kind of help step up into that role, especially with the quarterbacks you guys have? Because these guys are going to have to help them to be able to make some of those plays.
These other guys like Vernon Davis. Yeah.
Vernon Davis he's still good. He's still valuable to our team. Very fast. I know when he came out of college, he ran like a 4.3. When he came out, I can't remember. I think it was 4.3, 4.2, 4.3. Tight end coming out of college, and he's still fast. He probably right now running 4.4. So even though he's up in age, but he take care of his body. And then Sprinkle, the other tight end, he's young. He's up and coming big guy. So, even though Jordan Reed is the best option that we got because he's unguardable. I think one of the best tight ends in the league as far as being guarded. Nobody can guard this guy when healthy.
That's the key, yeah. So you were talking about the youth of this team, of your team right now, and it's all over, you said. And you said how you guys were always old. Now you guys are kind of getting younger. That actually leads me to the defensive side of things,
exactly.
Guys.
So obviously that's one of the biggest, kind of boons you guys have, but it's also kind of a question mark. You guys have a lot of young guys. You have a lot of free agents, but you have some veterans still there. So
good mix of guys.
What are your thoughts and expectations for this defense, especially considering that, it seems like they're going to be doing the bulk of the heavy lifting throughout the season for you guys as the offense gets figured out?
They're a pretty decent defense. You do.
I mean, they pumping up our defense, but like I said, on paper, but as far as showing it on the field, they got to show it. I personally think that I've been saying this for years. I personally think we need to go back to the 4-3 because right now we're in a 3-4. So, and the reason why I say the 4-3 is because of Josh Norman. When Josh Norman was with the Carolina Panthers, they was in 4-3. So those was his best years. Josh Norman now is getting exposed because the defense that they're playing, he's not good at. He's not good in that defense. So the only way for him not to be exposed, they got to beef up that defensive line. They got to get some people that can get after the quarterback. So, because once you get after the quarterback on the scramble, he's going to rush and he's just going to throw. Just going to throw the ball up. And that's what Josh Norman was actually good at. Because he was in Carolina, they had a good defensive line. So the good defensive line was going after the quarterbacks. So, but I mean, far as our defense, man, I mean, we're young. Yes, we're young. Ryan Kerrigan, he's up in age, but still, he had the most sacks on that team last year. We got some up and coming linebackers, and it's just that cornerback spot I'm not too sure about. And I mean by Josh Norman, he scares me a little bit. Like I said, anytime somebody go deep on him, he's getting burned. Every single time, he's getting burned. Just like in a Cowboy game, couldn't stand it. Almost threw up. Almost threw my TV out the window. But look at look. but the back end of our defense, it's okay. I think I like the Landon Collins signing, but I wouldn't pay them that much money. I definitely wouldn't pay them that much money for safety, but I think we're gonna be okay. I think because we picked a diamond in the rough. We picked a diamond in the rough. I don't know who I'm talking about, but I'm gonna give you his name.
Cool.
Jimmy Moreland. Jimmy Moreland. The little he was I think it was sixth round pick cornerback. I forgot what school he came from. Real small school. But Jimmy Moreland, he showed me a lot in preseason. He showed me a lot at training camp because I was at training camp watching this guy. This guy had so many interceptions in training camp. I mean, he was shining. And then the first preseason game, he stepped up also. So I think he's going to be a diamond in the rough.
He's performing on the field. He's performing, at practice and also in games. That's big. That's big. And what's his number so we can keep an eye on him?
Right now, his number in preseason was 25. So that's really not his number. I don't know what his number is going to be because 25 is Chris Thompson on offense, but they had his number at 25. So I don't know what his number is going to be right now. So I'm going to have to look into that.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting, though. You have less faith in Josh Norman and more faith in this Jimmy Moreland.
Oh, yeah. He's very aggressive. Like I say, ball hawk, very aggressive. He make plays. It's just Josh Norman just get burned all the time. Damn. Anytime we're going deep, he's not as fast. He's not as fast. I don't know. He probably running 4.5, 4.6, and you got, wide receivers running 4.2, 4.3. They're going to run right past Josh Norman. So there you go.
So, I mean, you look at the defensive line, Ioannidis, and you have you have a couple young guys, Deron Payne. I know you obviously know them all, but I'm saying that your line is looking good. Your front line is pretty solid, and you have your linebackers. You had some good ones. Zach Brown, I know he went to the Eagles.
Yep.
And Reuben Foster. Was it Foster? Reuben Foster, wasn't he? He was the first day he from the Niners. He found no suspension like that. It's crazy, right? And he's out first day. So how do you feel about the rest of your defense there? Oof.
I mean, as far as our defensive line, like our linebackers, like I said, they pretty good, man. Like I said, they're young, they're quick. I'm very interested in Montez Sweat. I'm very interested to see what he's going to do and how they're going to use him. Like I said, it starts up front, both sides of the ball, offensive line, defensive line. It starts up front. Who can win that battle? Our defensive line, because of Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen and Matt Ioannidis. Let me tell you about Matt. Matt is one of the most underrated. He's one of the most underrated defensive end, I believe, in the league. Very strong guy. Very strong, underrated. They don't give this guy no praise, man. I see him pick grown men up, throw them. It's like he's super strong. So Matt Ioannidis, to me, is one of the keys to our defensive line, most definitely. As far as our linebackers, like Sean Dion Hamilton, Josh Harvey Clemens. Then we picked up John Bostic, I think from Pittsburgh. I think that's where he came from. And then we got the new young buck, Cole Holcomb. He's gonna be pretty good playmakers.
We actually know about
him. So I'm really looking.
So it's interesting. Cole Holcomb. We look at him in the draft. Yeah. So. A young group, quick young linebackers you got, but no real. But I can see the holes in the defense a little bit there. So, you definitely broke it down. I really thought you guys, I know the Giants kind of rebuilding a little bit. The Eagles had a solid defense. You guys, definitely had a solid defense, but it does seem to be kind of a little bit under construction, I guess you could say. No, I mean,
I guess that's the point. Even with established pieces like Collins, like Norman, it does feel, and even again with all these great guys on the D line, like you mentioned,
and a lot of these guys are young,
like you're in a rebuilding rookies, it's still trying to figure out the identity of this defense.
Yeah, it seems to be pretty young.
So.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I mean, the key to our team, to be honest with you, man, regardless of what they say on paper, what about whatever how defense is going to be, they putting us to be like the top 3 defense of the league. That mess don't mean anything, man. We got to stay healthy. Got to stay healthy. The past 3 years, we had like 20 plus injury reserve players. 20 plus injury reserve players. Wow. And we still ended up 7-9. Think about that. 7-9. Last season, when we were 6-2, and you guys was 3-5, 5, I believe. And then once Alex Smith got injured, all downhill from there. All downhill from there.
That's a great point.
I believe last year.
Go ahead.
I believe last year we would have won that NFC East. I believe last year we would have won the NFC East because, like I said, Alex Smith, he don't really turn the ball over. He's, dink and dunk, real safe with the ball, boring, that type of stuff. So, and then our defense, was pretty good. But once the injuries started playing a role,
great point,
we started getting exposed. We started.
Every team, any team with no real depth and young guys up there and get injured, as you get injured, you have less depth that drops off a lot more, and then that's where it hurts you through a season. And you have to have real good depth. Every team.
Exactly. I mean, again, an example. Obviously, we lost Frederick last season, and we were able to keep afloat with Looney, but you definitely felt the loss of Frederick there. So now you mentioned number 25 as kind of a real standout guy, and I know he's one of definitely the young guys, but I want to know more about your thoughts on the preseason overall, because you said you were out there training, during some of the training camp, which is great. So training camp, preseason, what's kind of your overall thoughts on how it's gone for your team?
What's caught your eye out there?
To be honest, nothing. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, nothing. They played a very Manila type, offense, very Manila type defense. They really didn't show anything. I wasn't happy at all on offense. I saw some flashes on defense. That was it. I mean, we played a very boring preseason. They really didn't show anything. Hardly the starters didn't play. It was just ugly to me. Ugly, just something you draw up in the backyard with your friends. You go out there and play. All right, you go this way, you go this way. I'm gonna throw the ball to you. You go this way. That's how it looked to me. So, I mean, I wasn't really excited. I mean, like I said, because none of our starters played during the preseason. None of our starting receivers played, which is weird. And then Jordan Reed, first time getting in the game, got hurt. It's just weird, man. I don't know. I'm just lost. I'm lost for words as far as our offense. I really wasn't surprised at all, happy at all for what I saw.
Yeah. What about coaching? Your coaching staff, the OC, the offensive coordinator. I don't know much about them. I know Gruden's brother's there. I saw the eyes.
I mean, you mentioned you did bring up injuries, though. I mean, with as many injuries as you had, last year, strength and conditioning. Was there any changes on that?
Yeah, you need that, and you need that, and you need good coaching when you have so many injuries. So yeah.
Nothing changed on that. Nothing changed with the coaches. Only thing changed was I forgot the guy's name, man. Sorry about that, but we got a new offensive coordinator. So I guess he's going to call it. I forgot his name. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. But as far as that, nothing has changed. I was pretty sure somebody was going to get fired. I thought Jay was gone. I thought Bruce was gone. I thought the medical staff was gone. I thought the defensive coordinator was gone. They all came back. Everybody came.
Frustration is real. Like, okay. It feels like that's sometimes for us. It feels like that too for the Cowboys.
When you kind of put it all together, then considering your expectations last year, you thought Washington was going to win the NFC East. How do you think the Redskins are going to match up against the rest of the NFC East this year, and obviously especially our Dallas Cowboys? But heading into the season, again, just a question of your quarterback. I mean, obviously some early NFC East matchups early on. What are your expectations?
Week 2, we're coming for you guys. Yeah, so I mean that is a great question. How do you think you're doing the season, the NFC East, and of course against our Cowboys?
When people ask me this question, I'm being honest with you guys. When people ask me this question, I said it depends on who our quarterback is going to be. It depends on the quarterback. Now that Case Keenum is the starter, I wasn't happy with that at all because I know who Case Keenum is. I've seen him play just like you guys. You saw him play. I wanted a new guy to come in because they really don't have any tape on him. The only thing they can go back to is college. That's it. They got plenty tape on Case Keenum, plenty. So they know how to attack him. They know what's his weakness, what's his strong points. They know his footwork. They know everything. Like I said, once a defensive coordinator gets you on tape, you're done. You're done. So, but as far as compared to the matching up with the NFC East, because we got 2 division games, week 1 and week 2. I don't know why they do us like that. I just crazy. A lot of people think we might be going the first 5 games 0-5. 0-5. Losing to the Eagles, week 2, losing to you guys. Also losing to the Giants. I think we played Chicago week 3, week 4, I can't remember. Chicago. Then I think we got the Patriots week 5. Yeah. And then week 6, we got the Dolphins. So I think we might. Like I said, all depends on how everything falls in place. But I don't know, man. This is the NFC East is weird because, like I said, you can have one year you can have an awesome team, and then the next year everything just like it's not clicking. It's just weird. I don't know. We shall see. Like I said, it's gonna be a dogfight. It's definitely gonna be a dogfight in the NFC East. There's not really any blowouts in the NFC East like how it used to be. There always be dog fights all the way to the end, a field goal or something like that. But I'm pretty excited about it. Like I said, because football is back, and I like when we go against the NFC East. But the only team I'm really worried about is you guys.
I like that.
Yeah,
but
I mean, I have to say, I think out of the entire NFC East, it seems like you have the toughest start to your schedule, which is because when you actually break it down 0-5, it's really surprising.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a very tough schedule to start off. But expand on why we're the toughest, in your opinion. I like to hear this.
Y'all defense, man, was amazing last year. I was shocked when they picked up Van Der Esch. I was like, who is this guy? And the guy came to play. Everybody was dogging Jerry Jones for that. Who is this guy? Oh, he sucks. He's not this. He's not that. And then when he came and put the pads on, he showed everybody, look, y'all didn't make it. Y'all didn't make a mistake on me. I was very impressed with you guys' defense. Very impressed. Only thing I can say about you guys' defense, y'all definitely need safety. You need somebody at the back end for sure. As far as y'all front 7, good.
We love Xavier Woods, number 25. He's a free safety. I do agree with you though with Jeff Heath on our strong safety spot. We can definitely upgrade that. But yeah, defense for us was tops. I mean, I think another year under their belt, we're growing together. It's gonna be better this year, our defense, than we were last year. But on the offensive side, matching up with you guys usually hang in there with us. You guys beat us last year. I mean, anything you see about that rivalry is still the oldest in the division as far as I'm concerned.
Or on the flip side again, defensively, your front 7, against our offense.
Yeah, our line and we don't know if Zeke's gonna be back, but let's assume he'll be back eventually. Week 2, well, I don't know, but we got Pollard, we got a running game, we got an offensive line, Dak, the receivers, Witten back. Any last words on our Cowboys on offense?
I was so pissed when y'all got Witten back. Why you say that, man? Man. Why you say Witten? I was trying not to say Witten, but you had to bring it up, just like a Cowboy fan. Witten is back. Okay, all right.
We want 6.
The slowest tight end in the league, and he always find himself wide open catching the pass. I can't stand it. But that's a good addition again. That's going to help you guys out tremendously. I think the reason why they brought him back is because Dak needed a safety blanket, and he really didn't have a safety blanket. He couldn't really keep throwing the ball to Zeke or whatever because like teams was actually keying on Zeke. And I hope he don't come back to after week 2. I really do.
We were way too predictable with our coaching staff, with the offensive coordinator last year. Just too much predictability. But I know you're saying you got to use Zeke right. You got to use our players right, and you don't want Zeke coming back week 2.
When Zeke goes, so do the Cowboys. I'm not really worried about Alfred Morris. I was crazy about Alfred Morris, but he's not Zeke. Trust me, he's not Zeke. So if Zeke comes back, I hope he don't come back during week 2. I hope he come back a little afterwards, but not against us week 2. Because when Zeke goes, like I said again, once Zeke goes, you guys go. So and then the Eagles, they're surprised. I mean, they won injury away. They won quarterback hit away. There you go. So whoever their backup is, nobody knows. And then the Giants is all over the place right now as far as injuries and suspensions and all this stuff. I don't know. It's going to be weird, man. It's going to be a dogfight. Like I said, you know, it's going to be I think it's going to be somebody going to be surprised this year. Yeah. I can't really say it's going to be us. I'm going to speak the truth. I can't really say. But if Dwayne Haskins was starting, I'd definitely say we'll win the NFC East.
But you made a great point on why he's not starting. I think that's a very interesting. I never thought of it like that, but because of the left tackle Trent Williams
holdout,
they want to protect him.
I have to say it's one of the few, you know, clearly smart decisions that I see, you know, the coaching staff making, because they're definitely not risking your future for the right now. So now, again, thank you so much, SkinsFanAllDay, for hanging with us here and talking about the dogfight that, yes, the NFC East, guys, the best division in the NFL, because like you pointed out, it's always competition here. So thank you again. Let the people know where they can find you at.
Yes.
You know.
Okay, guys, you definitely can find me on YouTube, SkinsFanAllDay. You can find me on IG, SkinsFan. I keep it simple, SkinsFanAllDay. You can find me on Twitter at Dayskins, at Dayskins. I almost forgot. On Twitter at Dayskins. Okay, guys. YouTube, SkinsFanAllDay. IG, SkinsFanAllDay. Twitter at Dayskins.
Perfect.
Thank you, guys.
With us today, we have the one and only Philly.500 to talk about his Philadelphia Eagles. So Philly.500, why don't you tell us a little bit about, you know, who you are, what you do, and what we're going to talk about today.
I'm Philly.500. I'm a dingbat. Everybody knows that. If you know me, talk a lot of Philly sports, a lot of Eagles and stuff like that. And I'm so glad to be here. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Well, thank you. Thanks
for being here. And obviously, again, Cowboys, Eagles, we have a lot to talk about, so let's kind of kick things right off. So, hands down, some of the biggest offseason news with Carson Wentz being signed to his long-term contract. So now with signing your long-term quarterback, Carson Wentz, on offense, you guys have added a couple new pieces as well. Your run game has been upgraded with Jordan Howard. Your pass game, former Eagle, Deshaun Jackson back home. So what are your thoughts on your Eagles offense with all these pieces coming together?
And do you think that, you know, Carson Wentz has all the pieces in place to be successful finally? You know what I'm saying? And avoid injury, too.
Signing is a pretty big deal, so.
Yeah, I look at this offense right now. I think the biggest addition to this whole team was the addition of Deshaun Jackson. Because with Deshaun Jackson, if you remember last year, one of the big problems we had is we didn't really have a deep threat. And the way teams played us, they didn't have to cover the whole field defensively. They only had to worry mid to short range. With Deshaun Jackson, you have to cover the whole field. This kind of opens up space for everybody else. So I think that the Deshaun Jackson, getting that trade to get him back, I think that's going to make the biggest impact on our offense. I think getting Jordan Howard, who is going to, I think, have that LeGarrette Blount role that we had in 2017, and then drafting Miles Sanders. I think our running backs are upgraded. I think our wide receivers are upgraded. I think you know Zach Ertz, how good he is. Then we got Dallas Goedert, who we jumped you guys to get him. And he looks every bit as good as he's been advertised to. So I look at this offense, and I realistically think that if Carson Wentz can stay healthy and they can stay relatively healthy, I think they could be better than they were the year they won the Super Bowl.
Wow. And how about that offensive line? Keeping it healthy?
I mean, offensive line. Well, and that's a big part of it, too. Last year, we were pretty banged up. This year, Jason Peters looks healthy. We drafted a left tackle who looks really good, Andre Dillard. You have Kelsey, good center. You have Lane Johnson, a very good right tackle, and then Brandon Brooks is coming back from injury, and that's kind of a question mark right now. We have to wait and see when he comes back. But if everybody's playing and everybody can stay healthy, they should be one of the better lines in the NFL.
I know you guys were actually ranked higher than us, last year, I think, as offensive line. I think got Wisniewski back as I think he's a depth guy.
But you keep saying it, if they stay healthy. So when it comes to health, obviously, various players are different levels. But when you do sign Carson Wentz to a long-term contract, and like you said, if he can stay healthy, I mean, do you want to elaborate a little more on your thoughts on Carson Wentz's contract or his extension? Your thoughts on how the front office handled it as well?
I think that it was the right move. I think you had to pay him there. He was only going to cost you more money if he got hurt. And to me, once you said to Nick Foles, "Hey, you can go to Jacksonville, we're letting you go," to me at that point you've committed to Carson Wentz. So you might as well at that point pay him the money, because if he is healthy and he plays to what I think he is, what more is what we saw in 2017, it's going to be a value signing. I mean, just think. It's going to cost you more to sign Dak Prescott now because Carson Wentz has already signed. And if Jared Goff signs, he's going to make more than Carson. So, yes, right now it's a lot of money. But you've already said, hey, we believe in you being the future because we let Nick Foles out the door. So at that point, to me, as soon as that happens, you might as well sign him as quick as possible. Carson has to prove he can stay healthy. I love Carson Wentz. I think he's a great player. He does have to prove he can stay healthy. That is fair. I don't think he's injury prone. I think he was coming back from a really tough injury. But he's got to show that he can be healthy this year. And I think that's a fair criticism that some people have put on him.
Yeah, and very intricate there, and good breakdown on the offensive side.
Yeah, so to kind of obviously switch it over to the defense, obviously the leader of this defense with the defensive line, Fletcher Cox. I mean, fantastic defensive line. Can't argue that.
Very solid front four rotation,
yeah.
And also linebackers are average, but they do a good job. The front seven. But then the back end, right?
Exactly. So your defensive backfield obviously is the soft spot on your defense. Do you feel that the Eagles have done enough during this offseason or through the draft to kind of bolster that defense to kind of make it a full, complete defense, in your opinion?
I really like our secondary. This is kind of crazy because it has been, it has looked weak in the past. I think the Eagles' defense, the way they run their defense, it's similar to Dallas in some ways, I guess. Everything for us is predicated off the defensive line and the pass rush. You have to be able to get to the quarterback. And if you can get to the quarterback, then obviously you make your corners and your secondary better because they have to cover less. And what happens is last year we had some injuries with Darby, who tore his ACL, Jalen Mills, and you had these young guys come in, Avonte Maddox, who I think could be a star. He could play inside corner, he could play on the outside, he could play safe. He played everywhere. You have guys like Sidney Jones, who has looked really good. It took him a few years to get healthy himself. Coming out of the draft, he was a top 10 prospect, dropped into the second round. And I think that our secondary, I think we have a lot of young guys who have played. And some of these guys have actually even played in the Super Bowl. So they have experience, they've played. And I think that they should be coming into their own. I think we got a young, underrated secondary going into the season. I'm very excited about this unit.
Yeah, and I actually, I'm not really too much down on like Ronald Darby. I think he's a good guy. I know last year Amari Cooper kind of made a move and he kind of tore it there. But looking onto the rest of your defense, we know about the front. You could go over the front guys too. For the front defensive line, like you said, very similar to the Cowboys. But how about those linebackers? How do you feel they are? I know you got Zach Brown from the Redskins, and you still have the hyphenated bastard, as I like to call him, because he talked a lot of crap about the Cowboys. But Nigel Bradham. So you got some I would say average to above average linebackers. Yeah. But how do you rate the front seven? The front seven, the defensive line, I love. I think that they're deep and they use a rotation, and I think they're always going to give teams problems. They just are. The linebackers going into training camp, it was my concern was the depth at linebacker. But from what we've seen so far, I'm pretty impressed. I mean, Grugier Hill was coming on and showing that he could be a starter. Obviously, you remember him talking crap about Dallas, but he went out there and backed it up. Then you have my man Nigel Bradham, who I love. I'm a big Bradham guy. And then you have some of these other guys. LJ Forte signed. They have an undrafted rookie, TJ Edwards, and I think they're all capable. I think it's a very capable unit, and as long as that pass rush and that defensive line is playing to their ability, I think the linebackers are just going to be fine. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think you got one of the top, overall complete defenses, and if that young secondary come through, like you said, they're definitely going to be one of those defenses to have to deal with in the NFL, along with ours, of course. Yeah. Top 5, top 3, top 1. Well, we'll see. I don't know, but
I don't know top 5. I mean, obviously, you guys have really good linebackers. I love your linebackers. DeMarcus Lawrence has a little bit of problem playing the Eagles. Can't get to.
Him and Lane Johnson have a little thing going back and forth.
Yeah, they have a little thing going. But I think that when you look at it, I think Dallas and Eagles, it's going to be a battle. Oh yeah, get ready for a battle.
No, and I think something you pointed out as well was just that, you know, the Eagles defense does a lot of things similar to our defense. And when you look at a lot of the pieces and talent you guys have, again, not exactly the same, but you can see a lot of similarities in the way that we...
Yeah, maybe linebackers we have, but they got the, you know, the back. I don't know. It's going to be interesting because we do have good, you know, front lines, linebackers, and back end, you know,
but you mentioned a lot of young guys in the secondary, and that kind of leads me to the next thing, which is, you know, did any young guys really stand out to you during your preseason or training camp, and just your overall thoughts on how your preseason and training camp went for your Eagles? Because obviously, you know, you have health and other things. You have, you know, your first look at your offense and defense for the year. So
how do you see them going into the season? Yeah. After preseason.
I mean, obviously, like most of our starters really didn't play at all. Carson hasn't had any snaps. I personally would have liked him to get maybe like a quarter of play last week. They didn't play him. I understand, because you look at what happened to Cam Newton. So I think it's, you know, I'm hoping he doesn't come out too rusty. But like, as far as like Vontae Maddox, they have looked fantastic in training camp. Miles Sanders, the young rookie that we drafted, he shows. I think he's going to wind up being the featured back halfway through the year. Dallas Goedert looks like a total stud. There's been a lot of guys looking really good. Andre Dillard, the rookie, JJ Arcega-Whiteside. It's Arcega, I think, but that's how they say it. I always say Arcega, but he looks really good too at a wide receiver. So a lot of promise. The draft class looks really strong right now.
You guys have real promising pieces for sure. I agree 100%. I guess kind of wrapping it up here.
I mean, really, what everyone wants to know is Philly.500, NFC East. So when we're talking Eagles, Giants, Eagles, Redskins, Eagles, Cowboys, what are your thoughts for the Eagles against the NFC East? And then, you know, obviously more specifically against our Cowboys. But if you want to touch on the rest of the East first.
That should say 1666, right, for that satanic star. Because that's what it is, a satanic star. When you look at the Eagles and the rest of the division, I think that the only challenger is Dallas. I think the Redskins stink. The Giants, I can tell you, absolutely stink. They're going to be horrible. Don't listen to Entertainah or anybody like that. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. They're crazy. They stink. The Giants stink. And you don't have to worry about them. Huh? They stink. They stink. It's Eagles, Dallas. That's the division. And I think they're both good teams. I think the Eagles are going to win the division. I say 13-3. I think Dallas is going to go about 11-5. And I think we're going to play each other 3 times this year. I think we're going to see you in the playoffs. I think it's going to be a good rivalry between Dallas and the Eagles. But I think it's those 2 teams in the division. I'm not scared of anybody else. And with you guys right now, you know, I just wonder when Zeke's coming back, because we're getting close. And if you don't have Zeke, then I really like our chances.
Yeah, definitely it's an issue. Hopefully we resolve that. This is the game that Jerry Jones plays all the time. I'm not really too worried, but I am. It's concerning that it's gone this long, and those hits, you know, are not the same. You don't have them in training camp.
I'm more concerned about one thing that I think for both teams is going to matter, because you already said that you expect both teams to have basically, you know, playoff records. So if we end up facing each other 3 times, that means that our second matchup towards the end of the year, that's going to be a huge game for both teams. So it's just saying it's going to be interesting to see those matchups and, like we said, how they go.
And if, like you said, health-wise, if Carson Wentz can make it the whole year, right? I mean, that's a major thing. I know you have the left tackle issue, so do we with Tyron Smith, but, you know, with the injury stuff. But we're very similar, very mirrored. And I do think if you have all your guys, we have all our guys, it's going to be one hell of a season, a battle for the
One
NFC
hell
East.
of a beatdown for the Eagles.
Well, not at all. Not at all. We got this. I'll be honest. If we lose Carson Wentz this year, I don't think we go anywhere, because, look, we don't have Nick Foles back there. You know, I like McCown to win. Like, I like Josh McCown as a backup. We have Nate Silva. I think they can come in, win 1 or 2 games, but if they have to carry the whole year, I mean, honestly, I don't think we can win that way. So we need Carson.
Yeah,
he's the key. He's the key.
100%, man. So that pretty much wraps it up. I mean, I got great insight, a great review, recap of so far and what you expected this year, man. I really appreciate all the great, you know, analyzing here of your team and you know, and being honest about it, and, you know, we're
the real breakdown on the Eagles.
Yes, thank you, man. Philly.500.
I appreciate you guys having me.
Hey, also let them know where they can find you at, all your different platforms. Go for it.
Just you can find me Philly.500 on YouTube. Best way, type in Philly.500, Philly.500. Or you can go check me out at Twitter at YoPhilly500, and I'm usually pretty easy to find. I'm very loud, so you'll find me.
What is up, YouTube? We are My Cowboys Family, and we are bringing you guys today a little bit of talk on our Dallas Cowboys and, of course, the NFC East as well. But first, a little bit about who we are, what we do. Again, we are My Cowboys Family. You can see it right here. We're live every single day with news, info, updates on our Dallas Cowboys. We do game day live reactions, so you guys can watch us go crazy live every single Dallas Cowboy game. Yes, guys, but mainly we love to have discussions with the real fans, the real ones. So now we're going to go ahead and kind of jump right into it. So obviously, the Dallas Cowboys are America's team. And currently we have a little bit of a situation with our star running back, Ezekiel Elliott. Currently, he is holding out. As far as we know, there still hasn't really been any updates besides the Cowboys making him an offer. But, you know, with that looming over our heads, we have our offense. So Dak Prescott, Amari Cooper, all these other pieces. I mean, baby, do you want to give your thoughts on your expectations on our Dallas Cowboys
offense?
Listen,
if we have Ezekiel Elliott back, this team is Super Bowl ready. Now, listen, I'm not saying next year we can't have that same Super Bowl ready situation in the backfield, you know, without Zeke. But this year, I think we need Ezekiel Elliott. Will we do good without Ezekiel Elliott and with the team we have? Yes. Will we have as good of a chance to win the Super Bowl and make that true Super Bowl run? My opinion is no. But here's the thing. Our guys on offense have played, you know, very well. We have Dak Prescott, who seems to be improving with John Kitna, kind of getting his footwork better and kind of getting his accuracy a little more on point. So we've seen some of that already so far. We know he's heading to get better. Tony Pollard, the rookie, number 36, out there. He can catch the ball. He can run the ball. He glides and he's smooth. Great complementary back to Ezekiel Elliott. Imagine both these guys in the backfield, which is the plan once Zeke comes back. So you got those guys. You, of course, have the offensive line, which is what makes everything go. The run game, the pass game.
Thankfully, Travis Frederick, number 72, is back. And we have, you know, just a lot of depth there, which we didn't have before. So, obviously, Joe Looney is back there as well. We have Xavier Su'a-Filo. Right. But mainly the rest of that line is
and you have those guys. You know, Martin's a little banged up here and there. Tyron Smith's always banged up a game or two a year. And the other guys, La'el Collins, he's going to be solid this year, I hope. And Connor Williams, our rookie from last year, who is going to have now extra help on the right side from Travis Frederick. No more Joe Looney. Even though he's okay, we got Travis Frederick back. He's healthy. He looks good. And that's a key there. When you move on to the tight ends, we brought Jason Witten back. We still have Blake Jarwin, who was kind of the guy who was going to take over. And, you know, and those are the two main guys you're going to see at the tight end spot. How good or effective will they be? I think Jason Witten's going to do he's going to be the kind of like the safety, the security blanket for Dak to get him out. And Jason Witten knows how to get himself open, how to position his body. He knows the tricks of the trade, so no worries there with his age. And, you know, he's not going to get you 20 yards after the play. He's going to get you a first down and go down. So we're fine with that. Blake Jarwin will maybe taking that next step. We shall see. And finally, at the receiver spot, guys, I mean, listen, we didn't know how this was going to break down past the top three guys. Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup's having a fantastic offseason and preseason. Look for him to really make a huge jump in his, second year in the NFL and with the Cowboys. And, of course, Randall Cobb we picked up from the Green Bay Packers, adding more firepower, along with Tavon Austin still there, and a couple of young guys that you guys will hear, Cedric Wilson and Devin Smith. I think they're going to make the cut. We have a fantastic offense. And, again, I got to say, Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore has shown us a lot more and a lot different things than we did last year when it came to Scott Linehan, a piece of trash offensive play caller, and not very predictable. Unlike Kellen Moore, he's going to have more pre-snap stuff. We already doubled all that stuff, which is very successful for this team. And I think he's going to mix things up and be less predictable, and it's going to just help Dak Prescott, this entire offense, running game, passing game, and this entire team.
Yeah, so I think offensively that is definitely the biggest change and one of the biggest reasons why we both feel that, even without Zeke, this team can absolutely find success because we have a lot of talent. And not just that, but you also forgot to mention my guy, Michael Gallup, guys.
No, I mentioned him, but...
So...
Yeah, but I mentioned him, but he's going to have a great offseason, great preseason, right?
Yeah, so, and again... change, versatility. That's the one thing that was really missing from this team and this offense. Really excited to see what Kellen Moore has to bring to the table. And, of course, the health, guys. We have a few guys that are a little banged up, like Amari Cooper, but they are expected to play and be ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, injuries are always, make or break for every single team out there. Very few teams can get through a season with a lot of injuries and be a Super Bowl type running, Super Bowl run type team. So I'm going to ask you, baby, about our defense. Flipping it over to the other side. Our defense, top 5 defense. We're going to probably have even better than that this year. Another year under their belts together, playing together. Our defensive front line, we had a couple new guys. Robert Quinn brought in,
Miami.
from Miami. We got, we have a couple other, guys that we have picked up free agents. How do you feel about our defense this year, baby? From, what's your opinions on them?
Okay, so with the offseason signing of Tank, really just solidifies that defensive line and the leadership there too, which is going to be huge because this defensive line is here to, break hearts and break names. I'm so excited to see Tank there. We have Antoine Woods, who last year, he was hungry for it, and I see him fighting for a spot as well. Taco Charlton, our first-round pick from 3 years ago, a little bit disappointing, but he's really turned it around during this preseason, and you're starting to see him really come up and take advantage of the fact that while we did bring in Robert Quinn, he hasn't really done too much since we brought him in because he's been a little banged up.
And he's also suspended for 2 games.
Yeah, but like I said, that's given the chance for guys like Taco to really step it up. So I'm excited to see these guys perform. Of course, we have Crawford. It goes without saying, Malik Collins as well, a veteran on this team. So,
and Antoine Woods on the inside too. You got a couple other guys. Well, there's Daniel Ross, Tristan Hill, the rookie, who's showing some explosiveness, and Christian Covington is kind of the backup to Antoine Woods. But when you look at the ends we have, we're so stacked. And as you mentioned, Quinn, Tank hasn't played a game yet. He's going to play week 1, and these are our starters. But Crawford hasn't played a game yet either, and he's another guy who was a starter last year. And then Gregory's not even on the. He's still suspended with the marijuana situation. But again, those are 4 guys in a rotation at the ends. And then I haven't played a game yet. We've had guys, like you said, Taco's definitely upped his game this offseason. And Dorrance Armstrong, number 92. You'll be hearing about him.
Yes.
Also, don't forget, Kerry Hyder. He's a guy, a very, a good signing, low risk, high reward. This guy's making the team. And, and we have other guys like rookie Joe Jackson, a couple other, and a great rotation of guys on defensive front. And I think that's going to, like Philadelphia and Philly.500 said, they're the ones that are pushing the entire defense. We know this because Marinelli himself said that, and that's why we want to get Tristan Hill
again,
3
even
check
look
under.
at the Redskins as well. Their front line has a lot to do with their defensive success as well. But one thing that we have that no other team has is the Wolf Pack, which is Jalen Smith, the newest long-term Cowboy who just got signed,
and the Predator,
and of course LVE.
Yes.
So I'm really excited to see what these 2 guys have to do, especially with the fact that the General is technically back. Sean Lee is healthy. He's expected to be there, but I do think he's going to have more of a background role. But, these young guys coming in and taking over the way they have, playing the way they have, and our depth at linebacker as well. We have guys like Joe Thomas. I'm really excited to see what he can do. And unfortunately, we did have a preseason injury with Luke Gifford, but, we're excited to see what he might be able to do.
Yeah, when you look at linebacker, we have the best young linebacking duo in the NFL. Hands down. 54, 55. Jalen Smith, the Predator, and the Wolf Hunter, LVE. So, that's set. And again, we have a system where we run base. Yeah, we could run the 4-3 as a base. We start off the game that way. So Sean Lee goes in as the Sam. That's the strong side linebacker. But I think you see that probably 20% of the game, if that. So our base is really nickel or more, dime or something like that. So our bases are really nickel defense. And when I say nickel, we have 5 defensive backs. So you see Sean Lee leave the game a lot of the time. So that's why he's not as a big of a deal. And you also have, like you said, Joe Thomas can go and play in that spot in case Sean Lee gets his usual 5 games missed for his hamstring. So, not really as concerning as in years past because we have such a strong, young offense, a defensive linebacking core. So that's great news. And again, Sean Lee is going to have minimal role. When he moves out, you're going to have our slot guy come in there, which is right now Anthony Brown. Really, it's Jordan Lewis. Again, we're missing Byron Jones in the defensive backfield, cornerback.
Yeah,
he hasn't even played.
Like Tank, he is expected to be back week 1, healthy, ready to go.
He's back in there and gets rolling as our number 1 kind of a lockdown guy. Doesn't make the turnovers, but his style is to lock you down. And you have a Wouzier playing lights out. You have Jordan Lewis, who's been playing unbelievable. And Anthony Brown's been playing kind of what he's always been playing like. So, it's very good. He's solid. A slot guy, and also he's playing outside now. So Wouzier, and throughout the preseason, you're not even seeing Byron Jones, and we have 3 solid guys out there without Byron Jones, 4 guys when you add him in there. So I love the cornerbacks and the safeties. My favorite guy,
Xavier
Woods, guys. So he's going to be a Pro Bowler this year. It's my impression. He's basically the single high safety most of the time. He can still play down in the box as well if need be, but he's the reason why I believe the Cowboys not break the bank to go after Earl Thomas. And that is a huge, great sign for Xavier Woods. You have Chris Richard, who is the defensive backs coach for the Cowboys, used to be Seattle, and that he had the Legion of Boom over there. So he knows how to get these guys going. And he's a key factor to our defensive backfield throughout the last 2 years, this last year and this year.
Exactly.
He's
And
really
I think
up
that
the ante out there.
Yeah, and another part of our safeties, of course, Jeff Heath, who I think that team-wise, we're going to manage him a little differently, make sure he doesn't get overworked, which is a key part in seeing him not play to his full potential. And like you said, Chris Richard just has a way of bringing out the best in our defensive backfield. So, and honestly, there's one other young guy that I'm really looking forward to seeing as far as safety. Yes, rookie Donovan Wilson. Guys, keep your eye out for him because I have a feeling he's actually gunning for Jeff Heath's
number 37, by the way.
We'll see. But honestly, that is all the names. Oh, and of course, actually, we do have to touch on one thing real quick, which is special teams. Brett Maher, our kicker. The Cowboys we're not too confident in him, but the Cowboys are clearly riding with him, and overall it seems like he is getting a little bit more consistent. So we'll see.
I won't believe it until I see it for an entire season. So he can make 10 in a row. I still won't believe in him. We definitely have a problem at kicker, but Cowboys going to roll with it. What can we say? Now, baby, what about preseason, the off-season, any of the moves? Anything that sticks out for you
I mean,
that we haven't talked about?
Wise, one guy that has really stood out to me, and I know I touched on it a little bit earlier, but Michael Gallup and Dak Prescott have really shored up their connection. You can really see things starting to click, and even throughout training camp, you've seen times where they've had like a miscommunication or they've been off on their timing, and you've seen them progress and work through it. And again, kind of on the defensive side, Luke Gifford unfortunately did get hurt, but he stood out to me. And Donovan Wilson, of course, just has been having fantastic camp. I'm excited to see what he has. Has anyone really stood out to you during this training camp?
To me, it's been and a couple. You've touched on a lot of great names, but to me, I look at Dorrance Armstrong and know that we're going to need him in there and playing an important role. I love Xavier Woods the way he's been playing. Awuzie has been a big upgrade. He's improved his game a lot. Anthony Brown, I was afraid he might drop off. He's staying consistent. Our defensive backs are really aggressive. Our defense is aggressive, and you can see it from the front line. To me, again, that's where everything kind of starts. And we have eight defensive ends. For 2 spots, we have 8 guys currently going to probably make this team. 2 of them are going to be on the suspension list, but my point is that we have 8 guys, and we haven't seen them yet, and we're still out there, first stringers, second stringers. It doesn't matter. Our defense is aggressive, and that's, to me, that along with on defense. On offense, you touched on a couple things, but Kellen Moore's offense, I like the little glimpses we're seeing from Kellen Moore.
The little tweaks so
far.
far.
And that is big because, again, you went from horrible with Linehan and predictable to now you got something else. A little bit more. Even it's a little better. And we went to the divisional round last year. You made this comment on one of our previous videos. Because of that, that jump of an upgrade, I think, from nothing to something, right? Something different, something better, less predictable. That's the key, less predictability, and that's going to make our team more efficient on offense and maximize Dak's strengths, the offensive line strengths, Cooper's strengths, Gallup's strengths, the whole team's strengths, and that's how we're going to win the NFC East. And again, that's why I truly believe that we have the best chance to win the NFC East.
So, how do you feel our Cowboys are going to match up against the rest of the NFC East?
Some tough teams, and I say tough teams, to start the season, it's always a battle in the NFC East. It's always a battle, but the Giants, the Redskins, they're going to be a little bit easier, I guess I'd say. I wouldn't worry too much about them. The Giants, in my opinion, are still kind of rebuilding, and the Redskins, they have a lot of issues still in different parts of their team, so they're not complete teams yet. The Eagles are the only team that, obviously they are gearing up to try to make another run as well as us. So both these teams are going to be fighting it out in the end. I believe as we get through the season, the Giants, the Redskins will drop off, the Giants will drop off. These teams will kind of drop off in the race for the NFC East. But as we get to the end, it's going to come down to that Week 16 game, the 15th game of the season, when we're going to Philly. And that might make a difference if it's close at the end. If not, I think that if we stay healthy, I think that if we stay healthy, no one's going to be able to beat us. I think we're the team that the NFC East, the NFC, the AFC, the NFL is worried about by the time we get into the season rolling 5, 6 weeks, 7 weeks. I think you're going to see how good this team can be. And again, minus injuries. And if we stick to doing what we're doing and kind of the plans here, I love what we're seeing from these guys from top to bottom. Just get Zeke back in there. That will put the cherry on top for 6. I truly believe that.
Yes.
What about you, my love?
Honestly, I'm going to say what you have not had the courage to say. It would be an absolute embarrassment if we lost the Giants and the Redskins. We should sweep them. Short of a catastrophic something happening, Zeke and Dak and the whole offensive line or something, honestly, there's absolutely no reason why we shouldn't beat either one of these teams. When it comes to the Eagles, I do hesitate a little more because that matchup is a little closer. But I do think that final game is I actually will put money on it that final game will end up determining the East for us.
And
because
if Wentz is not hurt by then. Yeah.
Again, the way I see it is, obviously health matters to both teams, and we both have key players that
cannot get hurt.
If we want this to succeed. But honestly, when I look at the matchup, I do think that there's a chance for us to split, just because honestly a lot of it has to do with timing as well, because health at the end of the season is going to matter. Which team is healthier in that game will probably have a lot to do with who wins that
What's
game.
your record-ish for the Cowboys? What do you think? What's your basic prediction or range for the Cowboys this year, 2019?
I mean, we do have a pretty...
With Zeke,
yeah, with Zeke, of course. We do have a pretty tough schedule, but I do see us going 11-5, 12-4, and winning the NFC East. Definitely going 5-6, if not 6-6 when it comes to the East.
Oh, and winning, 5 out of 6 games. Gotcha. I believe, I'm with you with the East. 4 or 5 wins for the Cowboys, but more importantly, I think we're going to be, teams are going to be scared of. And if no injuries, and like I said, things are going to go in Kellen Moore, and we evolve the offense a little bit, the defense stays the way they've been doing, locking it down. I think they'll actually be better this year.
Yes.
If that happens, we're going to be hard to beat by any, I don't care who we're playing, the Patriots, the Eagles, whoever. We're going to be a top team in the NFL. And I believe that we have an ability to get 13 wins. Probably the realistic would be, 12 wins with the full healthy team, and 11 wins with maybe no Ezekiel Elliott for a couple weeks or a month. It could be down in 11. I think 11 would almost be a failure in some situations with no injuries and with Zeke back. We got to get over 11 wins in my opinion.
I'm just trying to be realistic because we are a team that, cuts it very close, and the NFC East is still very competitive.
Oh, yeah.
So,
it is.
I'm not trying to count them out, even though I still think we should hand them their butts. Yeah. But
past the records, it doesn't really matter, because I think the Cowboys need to secure a home game in the divisional round if that's possible, and then championship, Super Bowl champions, number 6. I truly believe we have the ability, and it should be in the mindset of the quest for 6. It's real, and I think we can get it this year. 6, 7, 8, and beyond as we continue down these NFL seasons in the future, and the way the Cowboys are setting up our team, not just for now, but for the next 3 or 4 years as well.
So now with that said, thank you for everyone who watched. Again, we are My Cowboys Family. You can find us on YouTube as My Cowboys Family, Twitter, Instagram, all social media, Facebook as My Cowboys Family. We are always around, again, 24/7, 365, bringing you guys the latest with the Cowboys info and news, discussions, updates, live game day reactions, but never forget the #1 thing.
Go Cowboys! Woo! Let's go, baby. I'm ready. I know you are too.
Yes.
Hit that like, subscribe to all these great channels, and thank you guys for joining us here for another one.
Make sure you stay tuned.
Yes. And go Cowboys.